Awesome. You've got the first one back.
All right. Yeah, so I'm still kind of catching up on everything. I think I'm caught up on the most important things. And one of the big things that was discussed at length, and we had some research work done on it, was the attention requests. And yeah, I read through a little bit of the issues, not all of them in detail, but I just wanted to hear from you. Well, in this case, from everyone on the call, and also Amy, hello. Yeah, a perspective, a summary, so that we don't talk at length about this, but your perspective on things and what do you think could be the best way forward with what we know today. And Kai, you added a few there. Ben, I would also like to hear your thoughts specifically.
Yeah, I tried to leave it objective as best as possible. So I think you were still here when it got disabled due to the production incident, and
Yes.
we started working on some other stuff. We did some additional research trying to test other designs and other sort of questions, and tried to address sort of concerns that were expressed in the feedback issue and other places. And then we've gotten through the work that we had agreed to get through in terms of the updates to the way we handled the automatic assignment and the additional like toast notifications that came along with that. Patrick also got through the work for some of the header caching inconsistencies that we saw with the count and that not being properly reflected. We made a few other changes, and then we turned it back on. I turned it back on for the GitLab group in an effort to sort of get more real world feedback by assigning it to a group. So they've had it for about a week now, maybe not even quite a week, but close to a week. It's been back on for them. So they're continuing to pilot it. And then there's another customer, at least 1, 2 potentially, that have reached out and asked for it to be turned back on. So there are options outside of GitLab internal to sort of turn the feature back on for people to test and continue using it.
Okay, thanks. And what do you think, from your perspective, do you have any concerns, or do you think, like, what are we expecting from, yeah, what are we waiting for, basically? If there are there any concerns that you think we should iron out, or is it just a matter of time until we, get some feedback from GitLab team and enable it?
Me personally, I don't necessarily have concerns with turning this back on for all of GitLab. I do not believe that is a widely held opinion amongst people who have participated in conversations about the feature. And so I'd be open to turning it back on for everyone. I think in an essence, in the spirit of trying to make sure we've handled everything that we could possibly think we need to handle before turning this over to a broad group of users. Spending some more time with the GitLab group and potentially 1 to 2 other customers gives us a way to sort of get real feedback from teams about what's working well, what's not working well, and what's confusing. Because as we both know, that changes to code review workflows are disruptive and complicated for people. And so we want to make sure that we're not rolling out something that's like, want to make sure that we've adequately, I think, for me, that we've adequately covered off on sort of concerns out of UX and UX research and other places, that there's not something that we're just glaringly missing or that is totally broken, I think, in the experience. I think the sooner we get it onto more people, the more feedback we'll get and the more we can continue to iterate and build this into other places. But we need to strike a happy balance between broadly turning it on and making sure we're being mindful of concerns that have been expressed.
Okay. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, where to begin? I don't think that what we're doing right now is the worst course of action. I think this is totally a valid way to go. I think I also wasn't privy to, a lot of the sort of background and impetus for this effort to begin with. So I'm sure that I'm missing some nuances here, but doing the research and re-looking at the solution validation definitely uncovered a few things that seem to be problematic, and doing another round of research uncovered a few things. Unfortunately, I believe that like the larger issue is actually with our entire notification system, and that the existence of attention requests is actually like an effective band-aid on a much larger problem. Like, you shouldn't have to get a to-do notification and an email and a to-do when somebody like adds an attention request for you. That's like just a broken thing. And so I think, we're getting to a place where attention requests as a band-aid is looking pretty good. I think there's like some unresolved stuff that I think is probably unlikely to get fixed anytime soon, that has to deal with how we handle notifications as a product. So yeah, I mean, not sure what to do about that, but we did get some like sus comments actually about that attention requests were helpful. I swung more towards Kai's point of view than I used to be. It does seem to actually be serving a real need for our customers, and so I think there are far worse choices than to just turn it back on. But at some point in the future, I think we're going to have to reconcile the fact that we're not doing notifications in a great way, and there's room for improvement there.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Ben. At this point, I'm just trying to hear people out because I was a month away, and even though I was here from the beginning and sketching out what this could be, I want to hear everyone out before I give my opinion. I want to reflect on everything that has happened. So thank you for that. I'm surprised that we got positive feedback about it in the sus. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Was it MPS, I think, came back, right? That was the one that recently ran, or did you see it in sus too?
I saw it in the sus verbatim, but it could also be in the PNPS. I haven't looked at the verbatim for that, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did. Both of those like came back at the same time. And you're right, it was in some of those. So.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, for me, what I can say right now that is on my mind is that for me, the glaring issue is that the solution validation that we did was had flaws, and we were relying on that solution validation, almost blindly, because we were trusting it that the process went well and that the results were good. And so that's how we built our confidence. Like, we need confidence to move forward. And we have doubted that solution validation. So to me, that's what I can say right now is the glaring issue. What we do with that I still have to think a little bit, and that's why I'm also I wanted to hear your thoughts as well. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that. Go ahead, Kai.
Well, I was gonna first ask if Annabelle had any feedback. I know she's had opinions and thoughts, and I don't want to leave her out of the conversation as well.
Yeah,
can also abstain entirely, but it's up to you.
I think that I probably have made my stance maybe known. I don't know. I still prefer, I don't love attention requests. I don't like that it's got a name. It's got a name like that when it doesn't really describe necessarily what it does. I don't like that we add to the sidebar, and I don't like that there's an extra manual action that is a completely new, well, it's a new thing that you need to do in order to do a specific goal that is kind of vague. And then the fact that we've added that extra layer of notifications / to-dos. And in my head, I still think that review rounds could solve the same problem. I agree the problem is absolutely a problem. And I think the problem has been validated by many different users internally and externally. I just think that there might be a cleaner way to solve it for Sasha, the developer who wants to do reviews and review code. And I think review rounds might be able to solve that.
And definitely +1 to like, I don't like that it's called that. I did a little Google search, literally attention requests. GitLab is the first suggested thing there.
Woo!
And there's no other.
We did it.
Yeah, we have great SEO because no one else calls anything like this, or it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The rest of the results are like for like academic email, like emailing people and testing that, like requesting their attention for like something else that has nothing to do with what we do. So
yeah.
I feel like we're possibly missing something there.
Yeah. Okay. What I would like to do, if we can, is to, I'd like to think about this a bit more, just to unpack all of this and reflect on everything that has happened, and see what we can do from there. I agree 100% that the problem is validated, that and I think we can all agree that whether we like the name or not, or how it is executed and how it is used, the feature is valuable. Even if it is in this state, there is value. What we can say is that it's perhaps not the most integrated with the current flow, that it is disruptive and other things. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I would like to do, and I hope to have some more concrete thoughts during this week to share with you later. I don't know if we were planning on doing anything about it in the next milestone.
There's nothing planned for it in 15.1 because the only work that we still had to finish up was the notification piece, which is done, and there's caching work that's like behind a feature flag, but all like active development is sort of in a stable point right now. I think my only question for you would be, it's on for Giddily. I've heard very little out of them, and by very little I mean nothing. So my plan was to follow back up with them and just see if they're using it and how it's going. Do you want the rest of this week and whatever time next week, I want to constrain you some because I don't want to give you an unlimited amount of time. But I would like to turn this on for, do you, I guess maybe, let me rephrase this. Do you think it would be beneficial to wait until you've gone through that thought process to turn this on for people outside of GitLab? It's a little more like effort to turn this on for external customers. If we want that sort of additional feedback, or if we did push ahead with that, are you comfortable with that? I guess is my question.
So you're, just to make sure I understood, you're basically asking if I'm okay with turning it on. Is that it?
In limited form. There's like a customer that's got like 20 people, right? So it'd give us another sort of pot of people to get feedback from, outside of just Gitlab. If we're looking, if you're looking for more feedback, or do you want to wait before we sort of expand that group? Because if we decide we're not going to turn it on at all, then like it's sort of
yeah. For now, I prefer to wait because I'm not even sure what the next step is. Like, do we? I'm not even sure if we need more feedback or not. Like, is the quantity of feedback the problem? Is it the quality? Is it? Do we need to do more solution validation with what we have today? Do we need to go back to the drawing board? Is it just specific aspects, or do we actually need to put all of this in pause and you know, go back and try to build the foundations for this before going to this? So there are many things that we can do. I'm trying to put all of that together in my head. And also I'll try to, not only my head, but I'll try to write all of this down in the most concise way I can, so that you can all understand my thought process. But then again, I want to make sure that I hear all of your voices before sharing mine.
Jumping in sort of to the next point about 15.1, could we just make a decision to prioritize looking into a potential alternative review rounds, come up with some sketches and see if that would in fact solve the same problem before we make any decisions about turning this on for other people?
Yeah, as I said, I don't know if maybe that's the way to do it. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'm saying review rounds, but is redesigning this and having another concept the way forward? That's what I'm not sure about. And unfortunately, we're at almost starting the new milestone, but I don't think we should commit ourselves to, okay, let's invest some time, even if it's short time, with a new concept.
But it's not a new concept. Like, we already have reviews. They're just incomplete. They're not really reviews. They're just batch comments. And rounding out that into a review would enhance that feature and potentially also solve the other problem.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, but you said that you also have some sketches already?
Yeah, I was adding it into the MRE structure anyway, because it felt like a natural extension. It felt like something that needed to be addressed anyway. Okay. And I just think that there might be potential to solve the same problem. Okay.
So what we can do is, if you haven't already, ping me directly there, and I'll take a look at it and see how we can move forward. Because if you already have that, like, I don't think, yeah, it's already there. We shouldn't waste it, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really rough sketch in a Figma file. It's nothing.
It's okay. It's already something. So thank you for suggesting that. Okay.
Well,
does any? Yeah,
I'll
go ahead, Amy.
add something that is specific to me and my team. The rollout of this feature became immediately contentious in the docs team. Whatever we do, I think I need some help selling it to the rest of the tech writers, because it was the single most awkward team meeting I've been to in my entire tenure here. So help.
Can you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean?
A few of the tech writers were angry to the point of rage at the number of duplicate things that were landing in their to-dos, because we process a lot of merge requests every day, and this didn't go well. It was enough that managers were involved and transcripts were or recordings were listened to and apologies were issued. It was that kind of meeting. So they just did not like that. They were angry at the feature's existence. So this is secondary to whatever decisions are made.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I'm going to need some help winning over my team with whatever we decide.
Yeah, what I was going to ask is that feedback represented in the internal feedback issue that we have for attention requests?
Oh yeah. It's in there.
Okay. Let me see. Okay.
It wasn't good. I mean,
Okay,
the reaction wasn't good.
Okay. Would you mind linking to the feedback itself, so just to make sure that I see exactly what you're talking about? But yeah, thanks for bringing that into our attention.
You're welcome.
And if just
keep
to make
going,
sure
I'll get links added.
Right. And this was feedback from a user perspective, not about the work that they would have to do in the documentation or as a technical writer, but as a user of GitLab, those technical writers were okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. If you could link to that, that would be very helpful. And thank you for bringing that up. I will take a close look at it.
This isn't necessarily related, but I have seen some other feedback coming specifically, negative feedback coming specifically from the tech writing team about changes that, I mean, I'm not on the team, so I have no idea. When does it become like a tipping point? Like, you know, we used to have all of our UX research captured in GitLab before it became kind of ridiculous. And then we moved to Dovetail, and now we kind of keep everything there because there are better tools for that. I'm wondering when the tipping point is for tech writing is using GitLab in a very specific way that most people probably don't. And I'm wondering when it's going to be like, okay, we need a different tool because this isn't really working. I don't know what that tool would be. I have no idea. I'm just wondering. Is that ever discussed, or is it going to be GitLab all the way, all the time? Probably. Okay.
I'm trying to find the internal feedback issue. If somebody has that link handy, because I have so many matches for all these words.
I just posted it in the agenda, but not in the right spot.
We're up on time pretty quick here, and I've got Amy and I both have a hard stop. To answer your question for number 3, Pedro, I don't know if you want to voice it, but just to answer it, the only things that I think are really like explicitly scheduled are anything related to restructuring that's been ongoing from Annabelle, right? I think we've been working on, or she's been working on hypothesis stuff with
Alexis.
I think Alexis. I wanted to say Holly, but then I was like, it's Alexis. And then outside of that, I think the only other thing is There had been some conversation in the automatically assigned MR review based on approvers issue. And Annabelle was potentially going to take a look at that in 15.1. Marcel sort of volunteered her.
I forgot. Yep. That's what that's what we're doing.
Okay.
And then the rest is like open, and I think we've got space. And I think part of that was a lot of the features that are in flight had design work done, like the submit comment when you finish a review thing, add the approval. That work has already done. The UIs and stuff for like enforcing notification or like enforcing authorization on uploads and email diff suppression stuff, like all of that work is done. So there might be some review work, but there's not anything like big design work. And then the rest of the space is sort of there because you were coming back, and attention request has been this sort of looming thing that been slowly pushing, but no one's really pushing. I think we all knew we wanted to wait for you to get back to see. So there's a lot of space for that.
Okay, and thanks for that. The deliverables for the next milestone, are they kind of locked in?
Yes, the board is up to
Okay.
date and locked in.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look at that. And yes, I was already aware of Annabelle looking into the machine learning for the suggested.
This is not the machine learning version.
Oh.
This is a different issue. This is where people basically want to assign everyone who could possibly approve an MR to an MR every time it's created.
Okay.
The docs team will kill these people.
We've resisted, but I think there's some middle grounds. Yeah, there's some middle ground pieces, I think, and so I think it's worth exploring, and I think that's the idea here. This is not the suggested reviewers from the ML people. This is different.
Okay. Ben, you have the last point.
Just starting the CMS for editor extension soon. The recruitment was done while I was out of office last week, so I'm gonna pick that up this week. Hopefully done by 15.1, but it might not be. We'll see.
Awesome.
Cool. Great news. Thanks for doing that. And yeah, I think that's it for this meeting.
Thanks, everyone. It's
Cool.
good to see you, Pedro. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. Bye-bye.
Bye.